Ladies and gentlemen, how you all doing? This is Con Ulrich.
And I'm Rangru. Low, low, low.
And folks, today we are giving some more SD2 League action on Splitsk Fest. Rang, who's fighting and what are they bringing to the fray?
On the left-hand side, in the blue, we have Znat playing 17th SS with Vanguard income. And the right-hand side, in the red, we have TimeToCollision playing the 3rd Guard tank core, not mechanized. With also, guess what, guys? It's Vanguard income.
Yeah, I know we're supposed to see a change to that income soon. At least that's the scuttlebutt around the world. But I can't wait for that to actually happen. Like
Yeah.
I want to see something different. There's got to be something different than Vanguards the entire time.
I'd like to see someone go ballsy and take Maverick again.
Yeah, well, that would be the entire that be suiting the entire name to the actual group, wouldn't it?
Yep.
Now the one thing I will say is I do love seeing 17th SS because we have that lovely like things like the SPW 233s. As much as I can't really get behind the Legionary over here, just from like a morality standpoint, I do really like the light vehicle play that's possible with them.
Yeah, 17th SS is a pretty fun division as it's an Axis infantry division, but yet she has some good support equipment. Like her Stugs are nice, the jagdpanzers are some of the most cost-effective tanks for 1v1s, and even got the bloody big-ass Krupp Pack 43. And that thing's nasty, man. That thing is absolutely nasty, and he's gonna need it because there's a few IS-2s in TimeToCollision's deck, and this is a pretty open map.
I'm looking over here. This refinery over here on the left hand side. Has that always been there?
Oh yeah, in the northern end?
I see it in the southwest. Southwest, you see like a tube farm and everything. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know how I've missed this. We've done this map a dozen times. I don't know if I've ever missed that. But let's focus on things that are actually moving here, as opposed to these
Oh
farms
yeah,
that taking
I
place.
see.
We do have ourselves a nice little kind of southern push happening over here. We have a Sherman backing up some light kind of infantry material, and now a dead half-track as well. But you'll notice right now it is 13 to 11, which means that, of course, Znat wins this game. It's time for us to all go home. Because the 3rd Tank Corps can never, ever come back, can they? Right?
Exactly. Yeah. Yep.
But you're right. We have IS-2s coming in here on this particular map. I'm super excited. I feel like we've been cheated of the IS-2 presence in the last few matches here.
They're definitely, I don't want to say like an I-win in open field for Soviets, but it sometimes does feel like that. But, I mean, they are very good to take. I mean, if you are playing, I think if you are playing division that has IS-2s, you're kind of silly not to take him. And 3rd Guard tank is such a good division because they have the IS-2s and they have the Shermans, which is really all you need as a Soviet player.
True.
Those two tanks. T-34-76 is a nice, but they're really not tanks at this point. They're just expensive infantry troops.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. We had one of those weird kind of graphical things happen down here in the south. You had a Pack 40, I believe, Pack 40, Pack 30. No, so SPW firing at that Sherman that was down there. We had that weird kind of thing where the Sherman fired at exactly the same time the shell struck and bounced off the Sherman. So I thought we had a really whacked out ricochet going on here. Nope, that wasn't that. It just doesn't have the good grace to die at the right time.
No, but Legionaries are trying to push through the forest, but they're going to be meeting some heavy firepower here. And I think that's just going to be enough to stop that push, but you're not going to get surrender, as they are those rather nasty fanatical troops.
Indeed. And honestly, them not surrendering, I think, is probably the only reason this other Legionary squad has half a chance. And I say half a chance, that's going to rapidly dwindle down to a third, then to 20%, then to 0 here. But that death's head can often be the difference between a success and a failure in a skirmish. Like, I never really truly appreciate it until events like this do occur.
Yeah, the fanatical trait is such a good trait to have. It's probably good yet not a lot of units have it because it would make too many infantry fights really annoying, as really a lot of the infantry fights is coming down to suppression and surrender. But when you do get it, it feels fantastic. And as we see, and then Townsend has managed to push up and regain that area, which is pretty nice. In TimeToCollision, that's using some 82mm mortars, which is definitely going to help out a town fight like that.
The only thing I regret is that for me, I would immediately be hitting the front lines. I wouldn't be trying to assume that there's some, weapons teams in the back.
Oh, yeah.
Even with just a Vedka right there, we do see there's more infantry being brought up. We got 2 guard squads. Actually, what's that? And then we tank with this on Niki's behind it.
Maybe
And
he's
you
dropping
can't,
smoke?
yeah. You know, you might be right. Let me check
Yes? No,
No, you
you're
said
right.
Teichi.
I thought it was a smoke at first, but it was just an explosion.
Surely, he's always dropping smoke. It's a matter of whether or not he gets the little big killy stuff in the meantime, too.
Mm-hmm.
M-Tron, just outside the town's being engaged by, oh, Pack 38.
Yeah.
You know, Pack 38, it's one of those things, like, I want to go and ridicule as a door knocker, but, and I mean, it often is, but they can be, minimally effective when the time is right.
Yeah, they're not... They're alright. I mean, against Shermans and T-34s, they have a chance, but... It's funny because, like, you usually just have Pack 40s. Pack 38s are a pretty big rarity in a lot of Axis divisions. You're really just using the big bloody 75 to solve all your problems.
True, true. As Alanis Morissette might say, that's a little bit ironic. Don't you think? But
I do think. But only on
she has
a
no
few
idea what the
days.
song even means, so that's okay. What's that?
Yeah. But I do think, but only on, like, my weekends. That's the only time I get to think.
Well, weekends are con time. You know how this works.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that works for me then. Well, Legionaries over here are going to be pushing back to some Ogdemachiki, and these Ogdemachiki are going to, do the whole Batman thing and just kind of throw down smoke and bolt, which I think is an absolutely perfect idea because you're not going to take 2 squads of Death's Head troopers over here. You got to run.
No, you are not. He only got some guard troops being brought in, so I'm wondering how... Yeah, he's probably not going to really hold that forest much longer, unless he uses some good fire support to blow them up, like at 76 mil. But I do like how TimeToCollision is pushing a little bit more down south here of the tank Desnidki. If he can actually completely capture that forest where the tank Desnidki are going to go into, that's a pretty huge defensive bonus, as you can just, put some anti-tank guns in there and then start hooking up north.
Exactly. Exactly. And I feel that's exactly what's going to be happening. Your Slutskveska is definitely one of those maps you want to work the edges as much as possible. We have an ME-109 going at the 76 too. So yeah. Between the Pack 40 and everything else, that's not too shocking there.
Yep. Oh, Yak attack, yo.
Ooh. Yak attack? Ooh. Oh, and then we have the 85 mils down below too. So not going to be, killy, but it's definitely going to be kind of terrifying.
Yeah, definitely going to force that Messerschmitt to think twice about flying over that airspace.
Oh, it goes right trailing smoke there. So Tenko Desaniki going up against P-Grunt squads supported by an SPW-222. Of course, these first guys are going to go down pretty quickly, but they've lasted just enough time to get the MCHA in the town. They've lasted the PTRS in the town. They have the Razvedkas there. And as not as good as the PTRS, SVTs, excuse me, used to be, they still have a Zook on that squad, which means that 222 is not getting anywhere any close to that.
Yeah.
And between the ZIS-2 and the Sherman, and really any other supportive material like this mortar back here, they're not going to get any kind of real progress done.
Well, there's not going to be a Sherman for long here, it seems.
You're right. Yowza. There might not be a Ju-88 for very long either, though. Junkers, though, I mean, he might just have just enough speed, but I think that intercept course is going to be enough.
Yeah, turn a little bit to the right. Definitely gave it Yak a little bit of headspace. But, I think he's just going to have that speed.
I disagree. Here it goes. Here comes the kill. Here comes the kill. There we go.
There we go. Damn, that was definitely a very rare frog kill, yeah. Using up lots of his ammunition.
While we were looking away, though, the middle town actually had the guards and Tenko Desaniki taking up the cause for that dead Razvedka that had been on the front lines. And they're making pretty good progress. And the Legionari are good-ish. It's just a matter of that they have to be much closer than a lot of their kind of contemporary Soviet kind of counterparts.
Yeah, they do really have to get within SMG range, as half of their dudes are SMGs and half of them are G43s. But yeah, pretty much a CQC squad, because you'll need to get a Molotov off. And at long range like that, you're just not going to have a good time.
Highly unlikely for sure. And I think we're actually going to see a German counterattack in the south, so see actually how the scratch defense does. Razvedkas are going to take a whole lot of fire early on here. PTRS, I'm surprised that maybe a little more aggressively placed to take out that 222.
Yeah, it's definitely a missed opportunity, because that 222 is gonna force the infantry to pull back. He's trying to strafe it with the axe blind strafing runs, but as you see, that is not going to work. And the Panzer Grenadiers getting into the town will definitely make things a little bit dicey here, but the Russian infantry is pretty good CQC style. So we'll see how that goes.
Well, and another squad's actually been brought on in, so with the Mod Use on the back of that half track, as well as the Tango Thessaloniki. I mean, the Tango Thessaloniki is going to be more than enough. The PP shots are going to just absolutely devastate the peak runs, even if they're in cover.
Oh, 222 does go down in a PTRS, getting the kill. So I feel like his Panzer Grenadier push is not going to last.
They'll pick out the PTRS squad, and that'll be about it. These guys are going to get caught out in the open. While we're having that, we'll take a quick look up to the north. There was a small attempted push. I'm sure you guys saw on the mini-map. The Russians were making a kind of quasi-push. But Martyrs, SS Legionary, Strug, there was no way in heck that was actually going to work.
Yeah, this is pretty heavy firepower here from Znat all in all, while TimeToCollision really only has that Sherman, so this would be a pretty good area for Znat to try and push and get that all-important crossroads flag. He definitely has the infantry to clear out that forest.
You know, I'm surprised by the investment of air power so far. We have a pair of Me-109s to the south, we have the Yaks, we have the Ju-88 that went down now. I mean, both sides do have a high amount of investment relative to what we usually kind of see here.
Yeah. And it's mainly been fighters more than anything.
Exactly.
Only been one ground attack plane of that Ju-88. And also an artillery, like, Znat actually has an on-map artillery piece. That's a proper artillery gun. It's his...
396? Yeah.
Yeah, that's a rarity in a 1v1. And it's actually going to be doing pretty damn good, because it is the Russian captured run, so it has radio. So you can just snipe things if you do have the radio observer. Right now, shooting the flat gun, he doesn't, but with 122mm of firepower, you don't really have to... You can hit pretty nearby and still do damage, especially considering it's an anti-aircraft gun.
Forgive me, I want to draw your attention up to the north. We do have a Strug and Sherman are probably going to go at it pretty quickly here. As well as the Sherman and the Martyr. Yeah, Martyr gets that kill. Man, that is always an effective trade in terms of resources.
Indeed. And now the infantry going to get caught out in the open by a 222 in the tanks here. The outpost is definitely going to be forced back for now. At long range, and that definitely has the advantage right now of the Stugs. TimeToCollision will definitely need to start thinking about maybe getting an IS-2 up north as a heavy investment. He does have run in the central position. There's also a very good spot to slap down the big old Papa Stalin.
Yeah, but Papa Joe doesn't make pizzas, by the way, but or he doesn't even make like insert Russian food here. It's not coming to mind right now.
Borscht.
Exactly. He doesn't have Papa Joe's borscht. And you never get caught out saying Nazi things because he's a communist. We have, in the meantime, we have a ZSU up to the north. So while, yes, the ISU would be a really strong opportunity, I feel like if you slap down even just a couple of the Razvedka squad or PTRS squad, that would have kept more than enough to keep the Strug and the Martyr at bay, especially with the kind of close quarter knife fighty stuff. And Yaks and Me-109s are engaging in the skies as we speak. But yeah, I still don't really know how this entire fiasco can kind of get resolved.
Yeah, so Northern Puss is looking fantastic here from the Znat. He's bringing in some pioneer troops to really solidify it, and he's definitely getting pretty heavily into that forest, which is damn good here. We do have two Su-85s and two Shermans here from TimeToCollision with some pretty heavy anti-tank firepower. He doesn't have the infantry though, which is going to be a bit of a pain, especially in terms of a spotting role, as he's not going to have much recon. He has the Radevka, yeah, but for how long?
Well, he's got the Martyr, and that's the important one.
Yeah. It's just that one Stug.
Yeah, the Strug is terrifying, don't get me wrong, but the important one is actually killing that Martyr, because the Strug still is not quite as hull down scary as his contemporary there. Okay, in my humble, probably very much erroneous opinion.
The Stug does go down, it does take down a Sherman with him as Raoul, so it's definitely gonna turn the tide here of TimeToCollision firepower. He is getting some superiors to start clearing out forest. And this is pretty good. He should be able to maybe get back to the crossroad position in just a few minutes or so if he plays his cards right.
Very, very true. We are going to see a reinforcement of several squads of infantry and another Aufklärer over here in that central position. That center of town is forming the main axis kind of advancement, like, line of attack here. I don't know that I really agree with that. I think that you need to put a stopping force on right there, and then you work the flanks. Like, you're not going to win over this open ground, especially with the IS-2 that's still there.
Yeah, pushing a town is always extremely difficult on this map. Like, for the Axis side, like, yeah, once you get to the edge of the town, that's really all you're going to push into. If you can get into the opposing forest, that's fantastic, but I usually see it as hard to, like, hold for a long time, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, it's just, like, not a lot of cover. Like, he does have the SS Legionaries. You could put a good anti-tank gun there to try and ward off tanks, but it's still a pretty danger close position just because of all the other forests nearby and just trying to get stuff here to begin with. You'd have to unload early and slow march through the forest, which takes a long time for Pack 40.
Well, and as it is, the IS-2 over here is getting some beautiful shots into the side of this attempted advance. Yep, and the 76-2 that survived. Oh my
Whoa!
god!
Oh yeah, it has heat ammunition.
Yeah, we don't expect it actually to work.
I know. What the hell? Yeah, it's like 40% it's actually a really good shell. Like 40% accuracy, 160 mil heat, so it doesn't... Holy crap.
Yeah, but here's what gets super dangerous. Now we have the PE-2s, and if you guys remember from the deck before, there are potential for 8 PE-2s on this map, and those bombs are not going to kid around.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot of air spam MS for damn sure, but doesn't actually do that much damage, only pinning down the artillery gun.
No, it killed a Stug.
Oh, it killed a Stug, never mind.
Yeah.
Or Stug.
Stuck in the wrong spot, man. Down south real quick, just checking in on that. ME-109's taking out the half-track, not too shocking there. Tango de Niki, though, still will hold that town, because then now they have to get to knife fighting range, and that's where they excel. Looking outside of that, I'm seeing the Soviets are going to push the north. I mean, we are seeing masses of artillery and masses of armor over here from the Germans' side, but between the Su-85s, the ZSUs, we have more MCHAs, and heck, even this 85 mil loose Overwatch, I feel like that's where the main kind of axis of advance will probably end up happening.
Yeah,
not sure I agree with it. Not
definitely
sure
clearing it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so it was always funny how this map usually devolves around this northern flank and then the town, but they're both pretty hard areas to purchase. There's just a lot of cover, and especially how Znat has built up all the anti-tank guns, as well as got more tank destroyers being brought in, and a bunch of IG-18, surprisingly. That's going to be a pretty bloody fight for TimeToCollision to try and push up, but for Znat, he just needs to hold at crossroads, really. He's got that 13-11. It's actually been pretty close. I mean, we're almost into C phase, and the points has barely ticked over into anyone's favour.
Yeah, but you know what? I think that's the kind of thing I like about this. First of all, I love seeing the IG-18s. I feel like that's a German card that we don't see as much as we used to. And I'm wondering if it's just because people don't see the same kind of utility that I kind of would in them.
I think it's still pretty popular. It's just they're limited in terms of decks which you can bring them in.
Maybe that's fair. Okay.
Yeah. They are very good. Like.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, there's just support guns in general are just fantastic in this game. Ray take machine gun 42 teams when you can just have a 75mm howitzer.
Part of me watching as the 233 tries to engage the Su-85. He's probably almost getting off 3 shots to every 2. Yeah, he's getting 2 or 3 shots off. Yeah, wow.
Yep, but he'll shot chant rough Ryle, that's for sure.
Statistically, he should be winning here too. Like that boggles my mind. But all right.
What, 2-3-3?
That goes down, and now it's the martyr by himself against the world. And if he wanted to die for National Socialism, he's definitely going to do that, and there he goes.
He takes down the Sherman, though, in his last shot, so...
I feel like that's such a martyr thing, though, too. It's kind of like, yes, I'm going to die, but I'm going to take you with me, you punk. And
yeah, it's a martyr for the cause.
Exactly.
You do have...
Yeah, please go for
Now
it.
we have the Pack 43 up north finally deployed, but he is taking some rather nasty firepower.
And that's exactly what I was going to comment on. And one thing I was going to say, man, I wish, more German divisions had more Boits as this guns, because those things are so bloody good.
Mm-hmm.
Like the 88 mil, the Pack 43 is fantastic as an anti-tank gun, don't get me wrong. But it's kind of unidirectional. You don't really get that chance to have the beaten ground that you really might want that you get out of a lower velocity Zis, so...
Yeah. Yeah, and this guns are also nice because you can also use them as artillery. I mean, not the best anti-tank, but it's passable for the
Yeah, and
most
that's the
part.
thing.
It's just passable. Yeah. But yeah, it's been pretty even Stevens. So I mean, it's actually super even Stevens now as the northern flank has been flipped over to TimeToCollision, and he's got a bunch of armored forces making his way.
Yeah, and he's swinging around this forest too, so give him about 30 seconds, and then I would not really want to be in that anti-tank position.
Yeah,
I don't want to be in there now, honestly.
that northern position is very good because if you can get some reconnaissance, yeah, you can shoot the infantry and you can shoot all the units coming down the road essentially.
Well, he's going to start doing that already, so the Martyr's going to be engaged by Sherman the Su-85.
Definitely picked the wrong fight.
Yeah, this is that moment that if I'm Znat, I am desperately trying to push in another direction here.
Yeah. This is like really good for TimeToCollision. He's gonna bomb the everlasting crap out of that forest with where all the infantries and anti-tank guns are in, and just look, they're all going down. They're all dying to artillery and high explosives, and that's gonna clear a lot of firepower for TimeToCollision here. And
Yeah.
he has the opportunity now to rush into his forest and try to get it under his control. He's got more reinforcements coming in. We could really see like a crazy offensive here from TimeToCollision.
I will note, I think it's at least one yak just went down. I don't know if
Yes.
the second yak went down.
I don't know about second either, but I did see a Russian plane hit the ground at a very high speed. It was a bit concerning.
Well, he's one of those guys. He's a real driven individual. He wants to hit the ground running. Unfortunately, he only got the hit the ground part, and the running part just wasn't really working for him.
Yeah, he's not going to be running anymore.
Ooh, Ju-87 with that
yeah.
awesome 37 mil in there.
It's a
Unfortunately,
kill.
he takes the Su-85 that has like 0 ammunition left, but that's okay.
And there's 3 more Shermans to take his spot. Yeah, Sherman pushes through, gets the Stug 4. Now he's in a very good position in that forest here. And he's going to be rushing in the Superiors to hold it. This is looking very nasty here for Znat. That's what yeah.
If the jagdpanzer doesn't start plinking away at stuff.
That's very true. I mean, it is very outgunned, but he has that Panther-style armor, 130 millimeters. I think he's just going to get suppressed down just due to all that 75 millimeter fire. These Martyrs have been really good. And these are the crappy
Yes,
Martyr
have.
3s with only the Zis guns, not the Pack 40s. They're only 35 points, which is really cheap.
True.
Yeah.
True, but now the anti-air's down to the north, and that's a very, very important, let's say, kill right there. And the Martyr, and the jagdpanzer does go down. I wasn't paying attention to it, but I think it's one of the Shermans eventually just got, plinked to death by just take out the armor flakes.
Yep, and the Martyr's now holding the line completely by himself, and TimeToCollision is completely forcing his northern side. He's going to be getting into his factory complex here with Superiors. I mean, I have a feeling TimeToCollision could potentially shut down a northern spawn, and that would not be pretty. That might be a little bit too far.
I will say, they're one of the vastly overlooked duels going on here is an Su-85 and jagdpanzer firing at each other from about 2K. Just to the south of that.
Well, the jagdpanzer has high ground, so he should win.
That's true, Obi-Wan. That's very true. But the reason this is so important is that it's kept him tied up looking to the east and not firing in the north on this flank.
Oh, yeah. Now he's finally getting some shots here. Knocks out a half track, but that's not going to matter when there's still 4 Shermans prowling about.
Well, and indeed, we're having another jagdpanzer being moved on in. This guy, he's trying to get to like a hunter killer position. He might even get the first kill here. Yep.
Yep.
But
You
you
know,
know what? He's got to come forward.
he's got to
So,
start really trading for these Shermans.
well, I'm thinking if I'm these Shermans, I don't care if he can see me. All I want to do is want to sit down and hold down position and say, okay, fine, you got to come up the road to hit me.
Try and hide and play an ambush rather than trying to engage at long range. Because he really needs to try and keep his Shermans alive right now, just to deny any more tanks moving up. Because that would give time to
True.
collision time to rush up, bringing infantry and anti-tank. But he did lose another Sherman here to the jagdpanzer. So it is possible for Znat to retake his northern side. It's not as terrible as the push has lost a bit of momentum. But Znat, or TimeToCollision, does have a lot of flags under his control. Though Znat is actually pushing pretty heavy down south.
Yes, and that's what I was going to make the call about right there, is that while we returned to so focused in the north, we came down, and when we have MG42s on the offensive positioning, you know something is wrong.
Yeah, this is bizarre. Just people taking MG42 teams to begin with.
That's also true.
But yeah, this is a huge amount of territory that he's just managed to catch right under our very noses, Khan. There's really not much Soviet presence here. So this is kind of like a flip-flop flank where one person pushes heavy one flank and Znat is really pushing heavy down south. But he's definitely getting the better flag positions right now.
Definitely seems that way. The IL-2, in the meantime, just gets absolutely pounded. First by airplanes, and then I think it got hit by the Flak 30s, 37 mil over there. Oh, this is the G6s for 30 mils, that's why. I was like, that did not seem to be able to do that much damage, but that's a 30 mil cannon on that one.
Yeah.
Not a lot of ammunition, but a huge amount of firepower.
Yeah. The northern side, we do have some Panzer Grenadiers to try and clear through this town. It's still a decent amount of superior he's just going to have to fight through. If he can actually unload before... Yeah,
Nope.
Nope. They just really wanted to go for a drive to hell.
So you'd say they were men of honor on their highway to hell?
Yes, they were.
Okay.
I would definitely agree with that statement, Khan.
I am surprised by how effective the jagdpanzers have been here. Usually, I feel like you see jagdpanzers, you see hetzers, you see those rather, relatively speaking, immobile kind of tank destroyers. And I feel like they're either glorious gods of war, or they're kind of like cleaning up the altar after the festival just went on. You know?
Yep. Yeah, they're very good just because of that high armor value, and mainly because he's only been engaged in Shermans with them. IS-2s is a bit of a different picture, but even then you still have a decent chance to survive against an IS-2. Not the best chance, but decent nonetheless. And with these long-range run-and-run engagements with the jagdpanzers versus Sherman, the jagdpanzer pretty much takes the cake.
Very true. Very true. We are going to see slowly the Soviet air power is going to get, let's say, abraded pretty quickly. The Yaks are largely dead, so which means he's got to depend on ground attack IL-2s for most of his cover.
Yes.
Which is not going to go well when they have all that ordnance underneath them. Forgive me, I was going to check back into the north again, though, as this Jagdpanzer comes forward, realizes that's a stupid idea to be in the town. Ooh, then again, if he gets close enough, this Razvedka might get a nice little cheeky kill. Oh, baby. Nope, never mind.
Nope. It is pretty good here for Znat in a row because this offensive is so close to his spawn that he can at least, I think he can very reasonably take back those 2 flags in the northern section. And he's already still at a 13-11 just due to how well his southern aggression has pushed, and he does have a pretty good defensive position in the territory he has managed to take.
True.
I think that's going to be tough of TimeToCollision to retake the southern side compared to Znat having to retake north.
True. True, and there's one thing that we didn't really bring up before, but is exceedingly important. He has a single Nebelwerfer. Use the Nebelwerfer, please. For the love of all that's holy.
Yeah, we just want to see explosions. We don't actually care about its strategic importance.
Oh yeah, exactly.
You brought it in your deck, Znat. We better see the Nebelwerfer a little bit, or we're gonna have to... I'm gonna have to send you a very angry Discord message. It won't be rude, it will just be angry.
I'll add an emotion on it.
Yeah.
Now, there still is that JU-87, and the JU-87 for some reason said, you know what, I'm going to go after his ESU. So, strange decision making there.
Yeah, it's just playing out slower. He's not really gonna out chicken the anti-aircraft gun with 450 cal. Oh no, it's 37 mils and 250
Yeah.
cals, which is even
Yeah.
worse.
And looking otherwise over here in the central position, IL-2 is pushing a target, trying to go after this armor here. So he knows it's there. Oh, that's why, because he has the Su-85 in the area. Gotcha.
It's gonna force one of them to fall back and then side shot it with the Su-85, so it's like flushing out the birds.
He's not going to get the shot in time.
Nope.
He might get the Stug. Maybe.
I know he's shooting at the MG42s. I don't believe he has... It says he has line of sight in the Stug in my vision, but it's probably bugged out. Yeah, the Stug doesn't see him. It's just a bug.
That is rather unfortunate.
Yeah.
Rather unfortunate.
Yep, yep. But yeah, Znat is retaking like 3 of the flags up north here. So back to a 14-10, so he can definitely retake those positions. He could even push all the way back to the crossroads because TimeToCollision has been spending all of his money down south, and up north is completely bare, apart from a big anti-aircraft gun and a mortar piece which is almost out of ammunition.
True. True. The ruble doesn't go quite as far as it used to.
No, it doesn't. No, it does not. Especially in Escape from Tarkov. Bloody SVDs have gotten too expensive.
You know, I will tell you honestly, that is one game I have never played.
It's not
And
worth it, Khan.
I was gonna say, and I'm terrified too. The way I hear horror stories about it, so.
Yeah. It's a horrifying game.
Well, I know I'm gonna get flack for this, no pun intended, while I'm looking at this anti-aircraft gun, but I get the feeling that it's kind of like PUBG, except someone got really, really pedantic about all of the stuff you have to care about.
Yeah, kind of. It's more like DayZ Battle Royale. No, it's not. I don't call it even Battle Royale. It's like a more condensed version of DayZ in a way, but instead of zombies, it's angry Slavs with crappy automatic guns.
And tracksuits.
And tracksuits.
Which I have discovered is there's truth in that stereotype. I'd like to point that out. Noted. And that's why I will stay away from it.
I'm surprised that the tactician Idki are still alive behind enemy lines down south. No one has said...
Yeah, these guys.
Just like, oh crap, the whole German offensive has completely enveloped us. We're out of Molotovs. I guess we'll just hang out here.
They're pulling a Finnish army thing from like the Winter War. They're just kind of like, oh, they've enveloped us, and we are men of the woods now, guys.
Time to do some partisan tactics. It has to be a pretty good idea if they were to sneak up. You could potentially knock out that Pack 40 in a sneaky move.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But at the same time, he's going to be worried about the flak 80, flak 41 right there, the 88 mil. And not for nothing, if he gets spotted out even remotely for half a second by that flak 36, he's dead. So.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just really not looking good for TimeToCollision now. Znat is just really hammered home at northern push, retaken up to the central line, and then down south he's lost a bit of territory because TimeToCollision has been pushing pretty hard with the armor and infantry support, but I feel like it's going to go a little bit too slow here for TimeToCollision to really make it back.
Perhaps, but let's not kid ourselves. There's still way more C in TTC's group than there is in Znat's. Znat he does have the 27 peak runs. So that card is there. He does get the opportunity. He's got another card over here for jagdpanzers. And they've served him really well so far.
Now, all 4 IS-2s on the sea phase and a crap ton of Shermans. Like, TimeToCollision definitely has more armor. Well, also at the same time as a bunch of jagdpanzers, which are also tanks. The IS-2s are a bit scarier.
Yes.
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 The problem is, though, you can only bring in 1 or 2 of those every minute or so. Actually, you only bring in 1 every, basically, 90 seconds.
Yeah.
And yeah. Yes, sir?
And they only shoot, like, 4 rounds a minute.
Yeah.
So, you really gotta make those 4 rounds a minute work for you. Like, hitting things and not missing. There's a lot of, like, just looking up north, there's a lot of armor here. Even just the 2-3 runs pushing through, taking, the vanguard position. It's definitely helping out quite a bit. And now, bloody hell, we're at 18-6. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, I do feel that the third tank, it is one of those groups that's very Stalingradish, where it's, if the one tank with the armor shell gets killed, the next tank comes up and shoots. Like, that's the kind of thing you have to kind of worry about here. Because everything is just so bloody expensive.
Yeah, the IS-2s are pretty expensive. But I don't know, I feel like it just came down to... I mean, both sides essentially did a heavy flank push on opposite flanks, but TimeToCollision couldn't keep up the momentum of the northern run or set up a better defensive line with his northern flank assault, whereas Znat managed to do a little bit better down south. He has got pushed back pretty heavily down south here, but with the limited units that TimeToCollision has in his current position, I don't really feel like he's going to get into that town position, as we all know is such a huge pain in the ass. He is getting good kills with the IS-2.
Well, he also has that Sherman who's just running riot through there. He's on a kill streak, man.
Oh yeah, he's just charging right in. There's no anti-tank on the infantry, so he can just have fun. And once he's done killing all the infantry, he can take out supply truck and resupply.
Well, he's got guards coming in as well to kind of go and kind of condense and kind of consolidate that position.
Mm-hmm.
So we are saying that we're not saying, the rather large woman is ready to start singing here, and she is warming up. Let's not kid ourselves. She's warming up. The opera's coming to a close, but there might be another act.
It could be.
But not for the IS-2 as he goes down to the Ju-87.
Wow. Ammo's. I didn't expect the Ju-87 to be able to kill an IS-2. That's pretty good.
Once again, I think it's a death by 1,000 cuts going on there too.
Yeah.
Is the problem.
That's probably it. Oh, the Sherman and the Stug are gonna just pass each other in the town here. The Sherman, are they not actually gonna see each other? That'd be kind of pathetic.
That's funny.
I thought I heard something to my left. Don't worry about it.
And now they're gonna go back the other direction. Oh my god. I need like Benny Hill behind this or something.
Hell. Oh, yeah, okay, I think TimeToCollision knows what's going on, and yeah, but doesn't get it. Like a good hit, yo.
And now he's gonna go to the front of it, which is even dumber.
Yeah. The Stug doesn't... What the hell is going on here, Khan?
If I knew, trust me, I would definitely be monologuing right now, but I have absolutely no freaking idea. Like, this is a ridiculous moment. This is almost tanks at 20 paces. Jeez.
The Stug shouldn't have survived yet, but it did.
Tango de Satniki comes out of the trees. He looks back up with his men.
Hey, comrades, come for me.
Unfortunately, it looks like the enemy's coming for them as well, as we have 4 more squads of infantry being thrown into the center. And that northern side continues to fold like a cheap card table. Su-85 desperate to kill something, anything. But one by one, the armored vehicles, the infantry squads are slowly being silenced. And the red passion of the Great Patriotic War, well, it ain't looking too pretty.
It really is not. It's quite funny how just 10 minutes earlier or so, Znat was almost pushed through spawn on this northern flank, and now he's almost pushed the TimeToCollision spawn in such a short time period, all things considering here. I don't feel like he's going to really be able to, or match is probably going to end before that, but he just has such a good defensive position northern side, and TTC has really no chance to clear all this forest in any reasonable time. He's actually going to push into the central town here, some guards, but if the Panzer Grenadiers being brought in, I don't feel like that's really going to make much headway. There we go.
And TTC says, you know what, I don't want to hit the wall, so he's backing out right now, and I think that's actually probably a pretty good call here.
Very close in kills, only a 400 or so difference between both.
Exactly, and that's actually really quite surprising. Not quite as surprising as TTC's avatar there, at which point it looks like the Insane Clown Posse and it had a child.
Yeah, it's a very scary avatar.
Yikes. From the killy things over here, I was going to say the PE2s, very effective.
Yeah, holy crap. One of them knocked out like two Pack 43s, two tanks. What the
Yep.
hell? And it was
That is why
only
the
120 points.
that's the finest think I've ever seen a PE2 be. Usually when you see PE2 fire or just drop its bombs, it's like, okay, what zip code would you like them in? Oh, you want them in Massachusetts? I've delivered them to Maine. Um, which, if you're not familiar with U.S. geography, it's not close.
Yeah, that's probably one of the most efficient bomber aircrafts I've seen in a long time. That was That's
I'm
really
stunned.
impressive for especially those tanks and anti-tank guns that were getting hit too.
And on the other side, Pack 40 Zuts over here did a very good job. Brendel did a very good job. Pole had himself a killer too. His Spillman was holding up that advance to the north. Like, I would say it seemed like it was a much greater kill differential, mostly because I feel like a lot of the German equipment was slowing down and tripping up the Soviet advance every single time we took a look.
Yeah, I mean those jagdpanzers and Stugs are very
Yes.
efficient long-range tank fighters compared to the Shermans.
Yes.
Yes, and I think that definitely hurt Time to Collision quite a bit, just that long-range tank fight, because it is a little bit tougher with Soviets, because yes, the IS-2 is pretty much the be-all end-all, but it can only do so much, really. It's much like the Panzers are just so good because they're so cheap that you can get like a good amount of them that you can kind of get similar force disparity between your Panzers and Shermans in a way, and then you still beat them out in long range firefights easy peasy because you've got that thick frontal armor.
Yep, exactly. Thick with three C's and a P right after it.
Exactly. Exactly, Khan. You know the type of thick I'm thinking about.
You got Trotsky on the brain. But folks, I think that's gonna do it for us today. So not as many IS2s, as I might have expected to see, but regardless, a well-fought match in both directions here. Well done to Znat, and well fought to TTC. Any final thoughts there, sir?
No.
All right, folks. Until next time, then. I'm Conal Work.
I'm Rangaroo. Take it easy.